Welcome to Breaking the Vow on Strong Island Radio. This is a show where we turn pain into power and find recovery after divorce, separation, and breakups. This is where we push the emotional hang-ups to the side and create a plan to reach our best possible potential. This is where the next chapter starts and how the healing begins. So let's welcome your hosts, Theresa D. and Benny the Life Coach.
Try Van Gogh Double Espresso Vodka. It's 10 milligrams of caffeine
and we're live, and he comes in before we even introduce. So this is going to be, listen.
It's going to be funny.
We sometimes script these things, but here we are back with another episode of Breaking the Vow. I am Benny the Life Coach. With me as always. Maybe it's Theresa D.
Yes, that's me.
So sorry about that. We got all sorts.
It was watermelon martinis last night.
Okay. I haven't had a watermelon martini. Actually, I never had them.
Ever. I don't think you've never had one.
That wasn't a thing when I was drinking. So, well, my drinking was different. So anyway.
Yes.
We are in studio now with a special guest because he had to come back because we don't have to do anything.
We don't.
So please, Mace, in your face, introduce yourself, please.
And I just want everyone to know I am extra special when I'm sitting on the floor wearing a helmet and playing jacks. Hi, folks. We are live. At least we're alive.
We are alive.
I'm Mace Greenfield, attorney at law, formerly on radio and sometimes TV as Mace in Your Face. How is everyone today?
We're doing well.
We're doing well.
So how are you, man?
Me, I'm very excited to know that me and Theresa D are going to start doing an OnlyFans together.
An OnlyFans page.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah.
Everyone right now who's listening is like going to their computer. Fans only. I want to see.
Yes.
I want to. We are here about healing, wholeness, and wellness, and being healthy. But sometimes you got to be a little crazy to be healthy.
Yeah.
And
now,
when you want to be healthy, you think when you're unhealthy that you have holes in your life. Well, on the OnlyFans page, we fill holes.
Yes.
oh my God. Absolutely. So Mace, what do you? Listen, we were talking before the show. This is how you were introduced to me. You are the type of attorney that is going to fight for your client.
Yeah.
And when someone looks to play hardball or like cutthroats or hit below the belt, what's your response to that?
Well, my response is pretty simple. When you're playing the games, you're just trying to extend it to jack up billing hours to charge people more. Most of hitting below the belt does not go to facts that meet the elements of the law that a judge needs to consider in order to grant relief you're seeking. So it's very easy to skirt that kind of nonsense when you just let them run their mouth and then you just very nicely and politely, laid back way say, okay, but, what area of the law does that come into play? None. So why are we doing that? Just to, fertilize and fire up all the bitterness to build more money? No. Let's just have the facts that go to the law so we can get these people's issues resolved according to the law as quick and as easily and as painlessly and as inexpensively as possible. And if you don't want to do that, I am more than happy to litigate. I am more than happy to go to trial. Trust me, I grew up youngest in my household. I can be the biggest brat. I will have a ton of fun, but everyone else will be miserable. Let's go. Win, lose, or draw. I guarantee you'll be miserable.
Now, when you say something like this, it's really interesting. And Theresa, you and I have had other attorneys on
Yes.
who said, put your children first.
Yes.
You can either pay for my kids' college tuition or your own.
Right.
And how often would you say, Mace, that people complicate their own divorces when it could have been ended much more cleanly?
Oh, way too often.
Yeah.
The problem is too many lawyers, they sit with the client, and the clients just ramble on and vent, and most lawyers end up tuning it out, but it's like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. They leave the client in a habit of just babbling, and, every communication that goes to nothing in the divorce costs a bloody fortune.
Yes.
From day one, you meet me, it's training for trial.
Yeah.
Because most lawyers, 3 days before trial, you sit for 3 hours and they prep you for trial. Well, your conversational habits that are perfectly fine everywhere in the world can be a major problem in a courtroom.
Yes.
So I train people day one to just stay to the facts that matter. Don't go off on all these emotional tangents. I tell them I refuse to litigate emotion. And I train them from day one, and if they don't like my style, they can hire someone else, because
Right.
most lawyers prefer it. I ask you a yes-no question, you just answer yes or no. Short, sweet, concise, direct answers to the question I ask, because you can't break the bad habits in 3 hours, 3 days before trial.
Right.
And when you just ramble on a question, the judge does not absorb the facts of your side that
No.
the judge needs to give you relief that you want. You're creating your own smokes and mirrors and clouds
Yes.
of your own case, and the other lawyer is going to latch on to that and make it really bad. On my website, www.macenylaw.com, there is viewpoints. And if you go in viewpoints and search STFU, I have a great article, and I'm sure you all understand what that means. And since we don't deal with the FCC, it's shut the fuck up. And basically, in a nutshell, it says how everyone watches these police shows.
Yes.
And they
Law and order.
Right, and people are told you have the right to remain silent, but they don't, and they ramble on,
Yes.
and they get convicted. Shut the fuck up.
Right. Just
And
shut up.
this is just a little hint to what that article says. You read it, you die in laughter, but you get the point.
Yes.
And I print it and hand it to almost every client when I first meet with them.
Yes.
Now, what you had said that I really appreciate, and it's the same in a courtroom as it is in life. You had said, I do not litigate emotion.
Yeah.
So by sticking to strategy, using things like logic.
Well, no, it's sticking to the facts of the case.
That's
You got to
logic.
remember the way it's said. Yes or no, because courts and the laws are not necessarily
They're not
logic or
logical.
common sense.
Right.
So that's a good cue to me to shut my phone off.
Yeah,
before
my
it
phone
goes
just
off
rang,
too.
folks. It's me. It was totally
Yes.
my fault.
It's always your fault.
Usually is.
So when you look at it, you got to, they say marriage is like an economic partnership. Mm-hmm. So you got to treat the divorce like a business breakup.
Right.
Okay? I don't care what your stories are. When it comes to support, there's a formula. It gets plugged in, and that's how it is. Tough.
Not always.
Not always.
Not in my case.
Not always. There are some circumstances otherwise, but pretty much in this area of the state, because of the cost of living, they don't stop at the $159,000 first stage of calculation.
Mm-hmm.
They go beyond because you can't live on that kind of money.
Right.
Upstate, where you got cheap areas, they're
Yes.
more apt to stick to that, and you got a greater leeway for modification and variation when it comes to equitable distribution. On a long-term marriage, it's going to be split 50-50. Equitable distribution is not 50-50. That's community property.
Right.
But you got to remember, judges are lazy. If they wanted to do work, they'd still be practicing.
Well, that's why they have a law clerk.
So,
I think it's the law clerk that basically decides everything.
well, not a trial. That's motions.
Okay.
Okay, but the key is, when it's a longer marriage and there are kids involved, they don't want to deal with all the litigation of why one should get more and one should get less, except for separate property.
Right.
Which you got to have your documents to prove. Oh, but he or she knows. Well, they're not going to admit it most of the time. So
Right.
you
Right.
got to prove it. But where you get the most leeway for that is more a situation of a short-term marriage of, say, 7 years, no children. One brought everything into the marriage, the other did nothing and didn't contribute. Or you kept both work, kept separate bank accounts, and especially if you filed separate tax returns. Then it's going to be more like tenants in
Then that's
in
really not a
common
marriage. is
So,
that
so,
it?
house.
so,
you're
marriage
gonna
isn't a marriage.
do an accounting to see who put what in, and that's what they get back.
So when you talk about marriage like this, and when you talk about the separation, when you talk about the divorce procedure, that's actually a highly educated response that you gave, right?
Yes.
And then there's someone who is emotionally attached
Yes.
to this fight. And they're right now going, yeah, but I said this, and I read on Google,
Yeah.
and my
Google.
friend's lawyer said, and my friend went through this. What do you say to that?
Well, first,
STFU.
yes, STFU. And I also tell them, okay, that was on Google. Was it written by a lawyer? Yes. In what state? Michigan. Well, this is New York state law, not Michigan law. You know, and you got to remember, going way back to the early 90s when everyone first got computers and was on the internet. Back then it was said minimum 50% of everything you find on the internet is false. So all this fake news stuff is nothing new. Fake news with, news.
Yes.
Mainstream media. Well, in the 60s in elementary school, we were taught about yellow journalism.
Yeah.
On how you can't trust the media. It's all meant to sell products for their sponsors. The whole concept of the wild, wild west shootings all the time never happened. It was East Coast reporters making up stories to sell stuff.
Yes.
Their writings in the East Coast that, either they made money or on the publication, the sponsors made the money selling product.
Right.
It was the American news media that caused the Spanish-American War. Yellow journalism and fake news has been from day one in history
forever.
of being news.
Yes.
Fact checkers we first had years ago. I remember my talk radio show in the 90s. My engineer was there with his laptop, and when things came up, would fact check on Lexus, to see what's going on. And there were several other shows on TV and radio that did the same. Now you have politically biased fact checkers.
Yes.
And what I love is someone recently posted a cut and paste from Google, the lyrics to the Pledge of Allegiance, and the fact checkers came on and said only partially true. You also got to remember when you read the fact checkers, they're like partially true on this major news story that you put up there.
It's like partly sunny, partly cloudy.
Right, that's exactly it.
That's it, yeah.
It wasn't partly sunny, it was partly cloudy. Well, partly sunny, partly cloudy is the same thing.
Right.
But they're trying to make it look like this story is false to ignore it.
Yes.
This is why you are here right now. All right, let's we're gonna take a couple of seconds to do our commercial break,
We got to pay some bills.
pay some bills, and folks, we will be right back.
Ben, I found the greatest invention ever.
Okay.
I went to take my patio furniture out.
Okay.
And I realized that last year, when I put it all away, I put them in these big zipper bags from Wrap America.
Yes.
Life-changing.
Yes. No. Rap America is awesome. Tommy definitely helped me out on a few different occasions.
It holds patio furniture, wave runners, ATVs. It's weather-resistant.
Advanced protection wrap
Yes.
is economical and a practical choice.
So call 516-830-0040, or you can go onto their website, wrap-america.com.
All right, since we have a meeting after this in West Islip,
Yes.
I got a place for us to go.
Oh, you do?
Because I'm going to be hungry, so we're going to go to Our Little Italy, 636 Union Boulevard, West Islip, New York, 11795. If you want to know, call 631-661-6246. Pickup and delivery are available. Ask for John. Go on www.ourlittleItalymenu.com to find out what they have.
Ooh, I heard they have good chicken parm. Hey, Ben,
Yes.
I need to talk about solar energy.
Okay. I want to hear about
Lighthouse
it.
Energy Partners. Go solar and start saving today.
Makes
It's
sense.
Owner, operated by women.
Ooh.
We believe in order to close the gender gap in the energy field, we need to showcase key female players and keeping them behind the scenes. Their mission is to serve clients with the highest level of integrity, stability, and respect by viewing their customers as partners. Any energy project you have in mind, call on Lighthouse Energy, www.lighthouseenergypartners.com, 631-275-0091, located in Babylon Village, New York.
So I have great news. Since we do this show on divorce, when divorce hits, maybe you want to sell the house. Maybe you need a C of O, a certificate of occupancy for certain things in the house. So if you're looking to make some home improvements, need an architect, contact Certified Drafting. Selling your home, need permits for existing structures, need a property survey, contact Certified Drafting. Certified Drafting will handle all building department matters, serving Long Island for over 20 years. www.certifieddrafting.com, office number 516-844-0420, or you can email Kevin Daly at certifieddrafting.com. Tell him you heard about this from the show, from Breaking the Vow. You're going to receive a 10% discount.
We love Kevin.
I love Kevin. I think that's pretty awesome. And we're back. So now I have a question. Now,
Oh, you do?
I have a lot of them, to be honest with you.
That's
So now,
original.
especially since the show started, but I have relations with friends that are lawyers and attorneys, and what would you say is the most difficult type of law to practice?
Well, I've only been, basically for the most part, been doing divorce and family law. So I really don't have the background experience to say. But everyone tells me what I do is the most difficult area to practice.
I figured
of all
it was
the
either
lawyers
this-
It has
who
to
do
be.
it all.
I would figure this or med mal.
But I do have a question I want to ask the two hosts.
Okay.
Okay. Based on what I said as we let out to your commercial break, word for your sponsors to pay your bills. Is this fake news here? Since
No.
you're trying to sell your sponsors?
No.
No, our sponsors are like,
No. No.
no. No,
Not at all.
I'm kidding because I'm the one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I know.
I got you.
I
no.
gotcha.
So what we do here, at least our goal, right? Everyone's going through something. Everyone's recovering from something, and everyone has life in front of them. And some people are able to navigate through their tougher times well, and some people find
Most
them-
people aren't.
Well, a lot of times people find
They
themselves.
need to buy GPS.
Yes.
Well, right. Goals, plans, and strategy. That's what GPS is.
Goals,
That's
plans,
what my
and strategy.
GPS is. You find your GPS. You get
Yeah.
your goals, your plans, and your strategy to achieve them. So it's very difficult. Sometimes when you invest in your emotions so greatly, which is why I like that you said I don't litigate emotions.
Yeah.
I don't litigate emotions. I do not relitigate my past. And oftentimes people find themselves so deep into this argument with their own self, with their own past, and almost rehearsing these old
Yeah.
conversations.
Everybody gets all up in their head.
Well, when you do that, you have that chemical response called
Yes.
emotion,
Yeah.
and your mind doesn't know the difference between now and then. It just senses the
Right.
fear and the anxiety, and it releases chemical. That's
Right.
emotion. So that must be, as an attorney, because
As a divorce attorney, especially. So people are walking into your office, they're a fucking mess.
Oh,
Just saying.
that when people come, the divorce is over. Now it's a post-divorce issue. And they can't get rid of and put behind them
Right.
everything from the divorce.
Right. Everything
That is a
happened.
major problem client because you can't get them to understand the divorce is done. I reviewed your settlement agreement. There are none of the defects to open it up and address anything. And then if that happens, it's very narrow and rather expensive. Move on. Let's just address this one issue and stop getting all emotionally wrapped up about your other spouse's lawyer who's there as a lawyer again.
Right.
Because, you're letting that person live rent-free in your house, which means not your house, your head.
Your head.
Right.
And, you're going to make stupid mistakes you never
Yeah.
should. And worse yet, you're a masochist.
Right.
You can't enjoy life. You can't move on. You can't be the best you for your children.
Right. Right.
You're destroying yourself. You're destroying your children. Forgiveness is not for the other person.
No, it's for
It's
you.
to set yourself
Yes. Absolutely.
free.
Yes.
You can remember everything and say, that was horrible, but that's in my past now.
I learned from
It's
it.
out. It's gone from me.
Yeah.
I am not going to hold on to that and keep reliving it for me to suffer.
Right.
Too many alcoholics and drug addicts started that way and ended up that way.
I think everyone
You can't do it.
As someone in recovery, everyone kind of starts that way. I've learned so many things about the way that we think and that we feel, and how the three feelings, thoughts, behavior, how they interconnect. Cognitive behavioral skills is such a helpful thing. Now,
In recovery, I learned that anesthesia is good. I don't remember anything from surgery.
yeah. So
Anesthesia is good. We like anesthesia.
Listen, I remember when I had my kidney stone, they were like hold on, son, because it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I remember C-sections.
Wait.
Yeah, 3.
All right, so you trumped me, big deal.
I did.
So now it's difficult. Sometimes I have clients that come to me, and I had to learn this thing called positive detachment because their stories are so incredibly impactful and sad and tragic.
Yeah.
To the point where, you're like, oh, who could do that to another human being? And I had to really learn how to decompress. I would assume, with all the cases you've seen, being a father yourself, being just a human being, being a good-hearted person, like this, some of them
probably did hit home.
Had to hit home and hurt you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I have to be very detached. I usually don't. One thing, I will know the file inside and out, but I will not intentionally, I will not remember the names of the children of my clients, because then it's harder to be detached.
Yes.
And, I
agree.
won't let them show me pictures of their kids. I want to be detached, because when I'm detached, I can be objective.
Right.
And when I'm being objective, but you're supposed to be my advocate. But if I'm not objective and I'm just advocating what you want, I cannot tell you when what you want goes against the grain of the law, will make it longer and cost you more.
Right.
I got to be objective so I can tell you, no, wrong way to go, because it's not just attorney. It's what most lawyers forgot is it's attorney and counselor at law. You're supposed to counsel your clients. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I got to tell you, that's why over the years, for quite a while now, I only practice part-time because it gets very nerve-wracking.
Yes.
There are certain clients that, you understand that if I was in their shoes, I would be the same way. But it's just very difficult to pick up that phone when it's them and you're bracing yourself, because the day you already had, can you handle this now?
Right.
And then, although this goes against the grain of what Ben preaches, then you remember, ooh, it's almost 5 o'clock. Happy hour. Right.
Time to go.
I go to happy hour. I just don't drink.
Watermelon martinis.
Well, so listen,
Van Gogh double espresso vodka.
Oh, God.
10 milligrams of caffeine per shot.
Oof. So I remember the first time I was.
They say everyone remembers their first time.
Well, I was
Ben, I even remember your first time.
Did you watch it on an OnlyFans page?
No, but I was deployed to an emergency room, and this woman had her story reflected very closely like my mother's.
Oh.
And she was a mother with children. She had pain management that did her wrong, and I was literally holding her hair back while she vomited.
Oh,
ew.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can know all you want. That's a human being, my man. So you and I were your law. I'm not. So I had to sit there because this woman
Puke is puke.
Yeah, that's the woman that just died, got brought back to life, and everyone treated her like she wasn't worth anything. I'm not doing that. Not on my watch. Understand? Hold on.
I got no issue with that. It's the
yeah. I don't care. So I'm holding her hair back, and I remember looking at her, and I have to interview her, so I have to ask questions, and it's hard when
How did you do that when she's apparently not in the right frame
very
of
well.
mind
I'm
to
actually
do so?
still in contact with her, and she's doing very well now.
Oh, good.
So what's your name? How did you get in this condition?
No, I didn't go like that.
I had to go there.
You can do that. But I remember I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, whoa. And we talked, and I remember when I left, so I got in my car and I sat behind my steering wheel, and I just looked at the horn. I remember focusing in like the middle section of my steering wheel, and I started bawling. I let it go, man. I let it go, son. I was in the parking lot. I just let it go because I know what I've seen in my life, and I know I've seen violent things. Yeah. I know I've seen things that would make you would find horrendous, and I had to walk through it. The hardest thing I ever saw in my life was when they put my mother on pain management, and I had to watch her come off. And this woman was going through something so similar, and I had to be the specialist, not Ben. I had to be the specialist and get her through the treatment, which happened, and she's alive, and that's got nothing to do with me. But that whole positive detachment. So, like, similar to you, I don't look at pictures, man. Because if I see it, I see it. And for you out there and listening, and I'm pointing to my head. If I see it, I see it. And I know what I've seen. I don't need more. Unfortunately, in one of the past dates, we just relived the 20th year of September 11th. And I won't watch the news on those dates because, I see it enough. So how do you get through? We're gonna go to a break, but how do you get through that? How do you be human, get through that, and still stay true to the profession? So let's take a quick break and come back.
Ben, I found the greatest invention ever.
Okay.
I went to take my patio furniture out.
Okay.
And I realized that last year, when I put it all away, I put them in these big zipper bags from Wrap America.
Yes.
Life-changing.
Yes. No. Rap America is awesome. Tommy definitely helped me out on a few different occasions.
It holds patio furniture, wave runners, ATVs. It's weather-resistant.
Advanced Protection Wrap.
Yes.
Is economical and a practical choice.
So call 516-830-0040, or you can go onto their website, wrap-america.com.
All right, since we have a meeting after this in West Islip,
yes,
I got a place for us to go.
Oh, you do?
Because I'm going to be hungry, so we're going to go to Our Little Italy, 636 Union Boulevard, West Islip, New York, 11795. If you want to know, call 631-661-6246. Pickup and delivery are available. Ask for John. Go on www.ourlittleItalymenu.com to find out what they have.
Oh, I heard they have good chicken parm. Hey, Ben.
Yes?
I need to talk about solar energy.
Okay. I want to hear about
Lighthouse
it.
Energy Partners. Go solar and start saving today.
Makes sense.
Owner, operated by women.
Ooh.
We believe in order to close the gender gap in the energy field, we need to showcase key female players and keeping them behind the scenes. Their mission is to serve clients with the highest level of integrity, stability, and respect by viewing their customers as partners. Any energy project you have in mind, call on Lighthouse Energy, www.lighthouseenergypartners.com, 631-275-0091, located in Babylon Village, New York.
So I have great news. Since we do this show on divorce, when divorce hits, maybe you want to sell the house. Maybe you need a C of O, a certificate of occupancy for certain things in the house. So if you're looking to make some home improvements, need an architect, contact Certified Drafting. Selling your home, need permits for existing structures, need a property survey, contact Certified Drafting. Certified Drafting will handle all building department matters, serving Long Island for over 20 years. www.certifieddrafting.com, office number 516-844-0420, or you can email Kevin Daly at certifieddrafting.com. Tell them you heard about this from the show, from Breaking the Vow. You're going to receive a 10% discount.
We love Kevin.
I love Kevin. I think that's pretty awesome.
And we're back.
We are.
Yeah.
So Mace, there had to be times where you saw something and it hurt you at your core, but yet you had to
separate it
at your best. And how did you do that?
Very difficultly, but I'm very old school.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you want to do or feel at the moment. It's what you have to do. And
Understood.
people get,
Yeah.
It's what you need to do. And people don't understand. It's like, I have to clean my room. No, you don't have to clean your room, but you have to eat. You have to bathe. There are things you have to do. There are things you do and don't want to do. There's a big difference.
Right.
And my philosophy major for my BA studied a lot of philosophy of Hinduism, and this was a big part of that. There was a story in, I forget if it was I can't remember the names of the books, But the greatest warrior. You know, the city went to go to civil war, and he didn't want to fight because it's all friends, family, neighbors. You know, he didn't want to be killing them, and he knew he was the greatest warrior. He'd be killing more than anyone else. But, you know, this other character, and it was sort of set up like three parts of the brain talking to each other. It was like, but if, you know, you love these people, yeah. But if you don't go to war, being the greatest warrior, this civil war will last longer and more people will die. So it's not that you can't go by, I don't want to do this and kill people.
Right.
It's if you don't do what you have to do, more people will die.
Right.
And so, you know, I
think that's a great.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's a great
so,
analogy.
you know, I just suck it up, buttercup, I tell myself. You know, woke people today, they hate suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah,
hate
they do.
Pull up your big boy panties,
Yeah.
pull up your big girl panties. But, you know, that's real life.
Right.
You know, this woke stuff is a fantasy land that doesn't work. And I
Right.
think it's all propaganda from Russia.
Of course.
So that if they ever invade, they face our troops and they say, you're fat and you're ugly, and our troops run for a safe place because they were insulted, you know, instead of aiming and firing. And, you know, I say it as a joke, but if you look back in history, several KGB defectors in the 70s and 80s actually came out and said, this is Russian propaganda, and all you woke people are falling for it. And if you Google on Google, you'll find these interviews with the KGB, you know, defectors to the U.S. This is what they wanted to do to us because they knew they could never beat us
Right.
unless they make us weak from the inside.
Right.
Well, I think that's the easiest way to beat anyone.
Yeah.
So, and you bring up Hinduism, Buddhism, so like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, DBT. These are all based on Hinduism and Buddhist practices. It's so interesting. They, you know, talking about acceptance. You're not going to like life all the time.
No.
It's going to rain. It's going to not rain. Things are going to be good. Things are not going to be good.
Right.
It's going to happen. Life is going to be that way. Life never comes out as fair or unfair, just is. Our interpretation is where the struggle starts.
False expectations.
False expectations is I think that's the most common struggle, and also that and catastrophizing. You know, when something happens, immediately like your mind just jumps to the conclusions, goes to those biases. Well, this is going to be wrong now, and then this is going to be wrong now, and then this is going to be wrong now, and you're prepared for this argument. And why I want to bring this up, especially in divorce, why I got divorced is to stop arguing. I wanted to stop arguing. I didn't want to argue anymore.
Yeah.
I thought that made sense. I remember thinking when I was months after the divorce.
Listen, we took bets on how long you were going to last. I won $100.
I won 150.
I won 100.
Listen, when we got divorced, and I remember
It wasn't a shock to anyone.
No, it wasn't a shock to me either. It wasn't a shock to her. I mean, we made a decision based on inaccurate versions of ourselves.
Okay.
And that's the mature way of saying that. I didn't believe that I was ever going to have what I wanted, so I settled. She wanted something, and I was closest to. She settled. And when we were arguing post-divorce, I remember thinking, why are we doing this? We got divorced specifically so we don't have to fight anymore. But yet, here we are. And listen, old habits die hard. I get that, and relationships can be habitual. But that's because you attach yourself to this emotional compartment.
Yeah.
It took me a long time and a lot of maturity to let go of that.
Well, the experts say it takes 17 months on average to get over a relationship ending.
Really? 17 months?
Wow.
And what I've noticed though is very often, people after the divorce, they still have their issues and negative interactions, but the majority after 2 years, it starts to really ease up, and by 5 years, it's very peaceful, and they're getting along as best as can be for the children.
So I have something to look forward to.
Yes, you do. It doesn't always happen.
No.
I don't think so, but
It
okay.
didn't happen in my case. And that's, what, I again, you go back to Buddhism, you go back to Hinduism. I have to accept what is. Doesn't mean I'm going to like it.
Right.
And I think the part of divorce, which just really coincides a lot with what you're saying. No, you don't have to like it, but you have to deal with it.
You got to deal with it and
Right.
accept it, And
Yes.
one of the problems is that we live in such a linear society. That for each problem there's only one cause, and for each problem there is only one solution.
Right.
So when you have this problem, a crisis point, if you will, you try that one solution, it doesn't work, and you freak out, and it becomes manic. Every problem has multiple potential causes. It's never one single cause, and every problem has multiple issues, has multiple solutions.
Yes.
So if one solution doesn't work, you say, okay, let's look at it a different way and try something else. And that comes from Hinduism as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just a firm believer, personal mantra of mine that has gotten me through so much life is if any one person can do it, so can I.
Right.
And if I can do it, so can anyone else.
Yes.
And I understood that, someone dies you're close to, you're going to be depressed. It doesn't mean you have depression, needing medication and
Right.
therapy.
Right.
And you never had that years ago because it was normal
Right.
at these times to feel that way. As a human, it is normal to have depression, sorrow, upsetness. And without that, there would be no true, wonderful joy, happiness,
You wouldn't have
and
anything.
great stuff.
You wouldn't even
Yeah.
have anything to compare it to.
No, you
Exactly.
wouldn't.
And it's a journey to get through it. And self-confidence and feeling good is that journey of living it, surviving it, going on, getting past it, and getting life done.
Yes.
Yeah, bravo to that. Bravo
Yeah.
to that. I mean, listen, I mentioned the word catastrophizing.
That's a word.
It is a word, actually.
It's in the Webster's dictionary.
It's what drama queens do.
It is. It's what I did.
gonna-
100%.
Look it up.
Catastrophizing. So it's like everything that happens. It's just big.
You're using
thing.
big words today.
I pay attention.
Yeah.
So I think that like what you're saying is that I really, really dig. There's 100 reasons why something can go wrong, and there's 100 ways to resolve it. But when you're caught up in that catastrophizing mindset,
Catastrophizing.
there's no other way
It is a word.
to see. We can hear you. She's checking me on the dictionary. So when you
Yes, this show has a fact checker, and it is Theresa D.
partially true. So
Because it
Partly
wasn't
cloudy.
partly sunny, it was partly cloudy.
that's so great. I had a tear in my eye. That was great. So it's almost like a cognitive bias, and like it creates errors in your thinking because this is the way you see things, and there's no possible resolution. But unless you, like you say, well, there's other. Why not look at it another way?
Yeah, and when you're that drama queen or catastrophizing it, then resolution and moving on becomes more difficult and further away. And I can't tell you how many clients I get, man or woman, where it's like theirs is the worst thing possible, and I look them in the eyes and I'm like, listen,
It ain't that bad.
It ain't that bad. You don't have handcuffs on, you don't this, you
Right.
don't that, all these other things from other cases, and, you weren't accused of this, that, or that. I was in my divorce.
Right.
And I got through it. So, just pick up your big boy panties or your
Right.
big
You
girl
know what?
panties.
Keep it moving.
We're going to be going to a break in a minute.
You are stronger than you realize. And when you
yes.
give in to your weakness, you will never be able to do or accomplish anything.
Right.
And it's not the world. It is not other people. It is you.
Yes.
Look in the mirror, kiss yourself, and say, I am okay, and I am going to get past this because others have. I can too, and do it.
I love that. I love that. And what we're gonna go to a break in a second, and we're gonna do our constructive conclusion. And you mentioned something. You've been on the show before, and you spoke openly about how you went through a divorce and the accusations that came your way, and how cold and ugly they were. And yet, and like you said, you know what? I'm sure when it happened, it was like, oh my God, how do you do that to a human being? But you just said, I got through it. So when we come back, we're going to talk about, we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
And it's very, I'm like applauded right now. I love what you're saying, man. I love it. So let's pay a few bills and
We'll be back.
yeah, sure, why not?
See you soon.
Ben, I found the greatest invention ever.
Okay.
I went to take my patio furniture out.
Okay.
And I realized that last year, when I put it all away, I put them in these big zipper bags from Wrap America.
Yes.
Life-changing.
Yes. No. Rap America is awesome. Tommy definitely helped me out on a few different occasions.
It holds patio furniture, wave runners, ATVs. It's weather resistant.
Advanced protection wrap
Yes.
is economical and a practical choice.
So call 516-830-0040, or you can go onto their website, wrap-america.com.
All right, since we have a meeting after this in West Islip,
Yes.
I got a place for us to go.
Oh, you do?
Because I'm going to be hungry, so we're going to go to Our Little Italy, 636 Union Boulevard, West Islip, New York, 11795. If you want to know, call 631-661-6246. Pickup and delivery are available. Ask for John. Go on www.ourlittleItalymenu.com to find out what they have.
Oh, I heard they have good chicken parm. Hey, Ben,
Yes.
I need to talk about solar energy.
Okay. I want to hear about
Lighthouse
it.
Energy Partners. Go solar and start saving today.
Makes sense.
Owner, operated by women.
Ooh.
We believe in order to close the gender gap in the energy field, we need to showcase key female players and keeping them behind the scenes. Their mission is to serve clients with the highest level of integrity, stability, and respect by viewing their customers as partners. Any energy project you have in mind, call on Lighthouse Energy, www.lighthouseenergypartners.com, 631-275-0091, located in Babylon Village, New York.
So I have great news. Since we do this show on divorce, when divorce hits, you know, maybe you want to sell the house. Maybe you need a C of O, a certificate of occupancy for certain things in the house. So if you're looking to make some home improvements, need an architect, contact Certified Drafting. Selling your home, need permits for existing structures, need a property survey, contact Certified Drafting. Certified Drafting will handle all building department matters, serving Long Island for over 20 years. www.certifieddrafting.com, office number 516-844-0420, or you can email Kevin Daly at certifieddrafting.com. Tell them you heard about this from the show, from Breaking the Vow, and you're going to receive a 10% discount.
We love Kevin.
I love Kevin. I think that's pretty awesome. And we're back. So now, Mace,
Yes, Ben.
we had mentioned before break the thing you said, I lived through it. What'd you live through, man?
I lived through 2 divorces before I became an attorney, pre-divorce and post-divorce family court, and it was not fun. It's a lot more fun when you're the lawyer getting paid to be there than when you're the litigant paying to be there.
Right.
And although me and my ex now, my second ex, the mother of my daughter, are good friends now. We're always there for each other no matter what happens. And that's why I said, when you forgive to free yourself and you leave the past in the past, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time.
Yeah.
But you know what? Our daughter has benefited greatly from the fact that Mom and Dad are both there for her when she needs. Mm-hmm. She's living in Alaska now, but, birthdays, it's me and her mom taking her out. If at the time I have a girlfriend and she has a boyfriend, we leave them home for just the 3 of us, and we do the right things.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
brilliant.
And I was accused of things.
It takes a while to get to that point, though.
Yeah. I was accused of things, and I knew it was more a lawyer than her.
Of course.
But, I was accused of, I had this rifle, an AR-7. It was in I think it was Man with a Golden Gun, that rifle that was on the tripod that was aimed at James Bond's crotch while he was, tied up. And I was accused of pointing it at my ex and the baby and myself. Well, first of all, a rifle is very difficult to point at yourself. Mm-hmm. But, doing my research and listening to my lawyer, my rifle was no longer in my possession, and I could prove it to prove that it was a lie. So when you're lied about, it shouldn't be, how can he or she say that? Your first thought should be, okay, how can I prove that was a lie?
Right.
And as soon as you have issues, if you got guns, get rid of them. Keep diaries of where you're at and who you're with. Don't use cash. Use your credit card. So you got a trail of paying for things at a specific place at a specific time. So you're accused of things. You can track where you were and who your witnesses are. It's not, how can that person lie? And let me tell you, sometimes it is the lawyer behind those lies.
Yes.
Sometimes
I
it's
do
not.
believe that.
Sometimes it's not, and it is that person. Oh, years ago when I was Mace in Your Face on radio, in the 90s, before I was a lawyer, I sent some women around to lawyers, wired, to hear their advice, and then played those tapes on air where they were telling them to make up lies for orders of protections.
God, really?
Yes. And also, someone was wired at one of these women's groups where they were saying, you take when he goes to take his nap, after doing his outside yard chores, you go to the kitchen, you take a small saucepan, hit yourself in the face with it, and call the cops. And I had that on tape, broadcasting that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's really reaching.
Oh, it's shockingly disgusting. There is a Chinese association in Queens that helps these women that come from China. They're not citizens. Get a guy, how to marry an American guy to get your green card, get your citizenship, and then sue them and take everything they got.
Oh,
And
my God.
yeah, and of course, my client found that playbook, and I'm not going to believe him when it says it's in Chinese. I took it to someone I knew who's Chinese, who looked at it and confirmed for me that that's what it was.
Oh, my God.
So it is horrible what, some of the disgusting things that go on.
And that makes it so much harder for the people who have that real issue.
Yes, except that was a case where it started in 2014. It didn't get a judgment until 2020. The appeal is now pending.
Oh, God.
She went through 11 attorneys. It gets better. That was a 7-year childless marriage. Okay? And she brought nothing into the marriage. They each had spent a year out of the marital residence on orders of protections.
Right.
So you're talking about 5 years together. And, it was able to show that she had condom and money went to her relatives in China that then came back to her. Okay, so, she got only 15% of assets.
Okay.
And against the money judgment, she swindled him. She, at the end of the day, she owed him money that she doesn't have to give.
Right.
But, it's just crazy. And then she tried all these orders of protections against him. Which
I'm sure the lawyer said, file for this.
In other counties that I got to get brought into the divorce, it was just every game in the book she wanted to avoid trial. She, faked passing out in the lobby of the courthouse to go to the hospital with an ambulance. Hired this one lawyer who did a motion to vacate trial and set aside the note of issue. Discovery is incomplete. There was these huge checks, a check for $100,000 that she needs to pose my client to find out what he used it for. And in my opposition is a copy of that check, because she gave the check number but not a copy. And I'm like, her client signed the check. Why does she have to ask my client questions? This is the nonsense I had to deal with.
See, it's people play dirty pool. But you had said,
I know that all too well.
I think we all do. I mean, I have something that's pending, and I can't really talk too much on it, but it's interesting when people lie.
Stick to the facts.
Right.
Concise and direct, that meet the elements of the law, and you will usually be able to disperse the lies with clarity to the judge. But when you want to do it, acting like, Perry Mason, all boisterous, you're not giving the concise facts in a way that the judge will see it and say, oh, that is how it is.
Right.
Yeah,
sometimes less is more, a whole lot more.
Right. I've never been deposed in my life.
Oh, I have.
Me too.
So that is really interesting advice to people who you're facing deposition. So rather than fire off on these, and this is a great constructive conclusion, rather than fire off in a million different ideas or try to litigate emotion or emotionally, stick to the facts.
Well, the dirty place to try to get that to your side so that you flip out emotionally in response. Don't. Your emotions can be vented and expressed with a therapist, with a friend, with your mother, and if you overdo it, they'll get sick of you. Well, not the therapist, they're getting money.
They get money.
Right.
Stick to the facts, and you will cut right through. Don't let them get to you. You let them get to you with the dirty play, you're giving them a gift on
Yes.
a silver
You're giving
platter.
them a gift. When you flip
That's what
out,
they
you're
want.
giving them a gift.
That's what they want.
Yep.
It's so interesting. I mean, listen, I've had people that I've coached, that I've worked with, that I've been an advocate for, and they told me, I'm going to court. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And I'm like, well, when did you speak to your attorney? They're like, well, they're gonna brief me before we go in. And now here it is. You're telling me, well, I already trained for that since like the day they signed.
And the key is you go to court, unless it's a trial, okay? You go to court, and other than your name and address, shut up. Everyone wants to know the right thing to say. Most important is knowing when not to say anything. You have a lawyer, let the lawyer talk. And don't keep nudging the lawyer to show them your notes, because then you're distracting them. Don't keep whispering in their ear, you're distracting them. And you look uncontrolled to the judge, you know?
Well, now everything's. How is it deposing somebody online? Because now it's
yeah.
virtual now.
Being
It's on Zoom.
hearing impaired, I will not do virtual depositions or hearings.
Okay.
Okay, I do a lot of lip reading to fill it in. That screen is too small.
Okay.
And then when there's words, but the video froze,
Yeah.
or the video's going, but the words froze.
Oh, my God,
I
yeah.
refuse to do it virtually. I was once told because there's a closed caption feature, it's a reasonable accommodation, or the closed caption feature didn't work. And when you're looking at the caption, you can't see the person to
Right.
judge their credibility. So no, it is not a reasonable accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act for me.
No, it isn't.
Wow, good for you. Good for you. I mean, listen, I think courts, to me, just because I think
Don't
courts
even
intimidate
get me started.
Courts are intimidating. But to you, they're not, because you know how to. You know what to do.
Listen, the Spartans wore red into battle so the enemy couldn't see them bleed. You want to feel intimidated? That's fine. Never show.
Never show that.
You're intimidated.
Right.
This is a great idea.
Yeah.
All right, so Mace, always a pleasure, man. You
Always.
really you bring it, man.
We
I
love
mean,
you.
Thank you.
Bring it. You really do.
Teresa, love me in the OnlyFans page, baby.
Yeah, yeah. I can't be part of the fans all these stuff, but yes, they're gonna can tomatoes or bottle tomatoes.
Pack.
Is it packed tomatoes? Bottle tomatoes. Bottle can
Yes.
packed.
That won't be what's packing.
That won't be what's packing.
No, be filling holes in line.
Ryan. That won't be what's packing either.
Yeah.
Hey, Donna.
Donna, run.
Thank you for having me back.
Have fun, guys.
Thanks,
Take care.
Mace.